Hello all, this is Sahana back with Mendelian Genetics Part 3. I'll be discussing dihybrid cross. So, a cross that involves the analysis of two independent traits at a time is called dihybrid cross. For example, height of a plant, color of a flower, these two are independent, as well as the shape of a pod and the color of a pod is independent. The seed shapes and seed colors are independent. So any of the two traits taken at a time in particular cross can be defined as dihybrid cross. So to analyze the dihybrid cross, Mendel chose a pea plant with round and yellow seeds and a plant with wrinkled and green seeds. Okay, so the parental generation had pure breeding round yellow seeds and then pure breeding wrinkled green seeds, and the F1 hybrids were heterozygous round and yellow. They were double heterozygous. Okay, and then here when see, as I said, the parents were homozygous round and yellow and homozygous wrinkled green, that is they both were pure lines, and the gametes have been produced, and the F1 generation had round and yellow seeds which were of double heterozygous condition with which indicates that the R, that is the round, is the dominant character and yellow is the dominant character over wrinkled and green respectively. And when F1 generation offsprings were crossed to each other, the F2 generation had four different kinds of plants here. Okay, the parents were of two types, but the F2 generation had four types of characters in them. So the it's like the plants with round yellow seeds were there, the plants with round green were there, round green seeds were there, and then the plants with wrinkled yellow seeds were there, and then the plant with wrinkled green seeds were there here. So the outcome of this particular dihybrid cross makes it clear that the segregation of seed color is independent of the alleles that is responsible for the seed shape. So here what's happening is, as a result of this particular independent assortment of genes, there is appearance of parental characters as well as new combination of characters. That is, see, round yellow is a parental character, wrinkled green is a parental character, whereas here two new characters have been appeared, that is round green and wrinkled yellow. That is because of the allele, the gene pairs, non-allelic gene pairs, they segregate independently of one another. That is why there is occurrence of new combinations here. Now, here F1 generation hybrids, they are called dihybrids. These particular dihybrids produce four different kinds of gametes here. Okay, they assort independently of non-allelic genes. See, this is allelic, R and R are allelic, Y and Y are allelic, whereas R to Y is non-allelic pair. So when these segregate and goes to gametes, this is not dependent on this particular non-allele. Okay, this goes to one gamete and it's a purely chance basis. Either you have that, it can go to any of the gametes there. So as a result, there were formation of four different gametes here, and the frequency of occurrence of these gametes were equal. Like out of four, 1/4 of them were of one type, that is double dominant, and then 1/4 of them were one recessive and one dominant, and it was like that. Okay, so these gametes, they randomly combine in F1 cross and result in the formation of different progenies, and we use the Punnett square. Okay, so we use this Punnett square to demonstrate or predict all possible combinations of F2 generation. So here 16 progenies were formed, and to summarize about all these 6 progenies, there were 9 round yellow progenies. Out of 16, there were 9 of them were round yellow. When we are discussing about phenotypic traits, there were 9 round yellow, 3 of them were round green, and 3 of them were wrinkled yellow, and 1 of them was wrinkled green. So these are the 9 round yellow seeds, and these are the 3 wrinkled yellow seeds, and these are the 3 round green seeds, and this one is the wrinkled green seed. So that is how we get 9:3:3:1 ratio. Fine. Now coming to the genotypic ratio, 1 out of 16 progenies were of double homozygous, producing double dominant character, and 2 of them were like, one of the gene pair was heterozygous and the other was homozygous, but producing both the dominant character, that is round yellow, and one of the 16 progenies were of one recessive character and one dominant character. Here R and R, this gives the wrinkled character which is recessive, and Y and Y, capital Y and capital Y, gives the dominant character. That is how we get 1 out of 16 progenies as wrinkled yellow. This is a new combination, and then 2 of them were uh, they had both the dominant characters, but genotype wise, one of the gene pair was homozygous, where the other pair was heterozygous. But the thing is, both the characters expressed was of dominant character, and 4 out of 16 progenies were of double heterozygous condition, which means they produce double dominant character, round and yellow. And then one out of them was one dominant character and one recessive character, that is round shape was of homozygous dominant, and the color of the seed was homozygous recessive character here. Okay, recessive character, when can it appear? When there is no dominant allele present. Okay, so here both of them were recessive allele, so they express themselves to give green color to the seed, and 2 of them were they were like one dominant character and one recessive character. Recessive character because of the homozygous condition of the recessive alleles, and then the dominant character was because of the heterozygous dominant allele, where the dominant allele expressed itself and the recessive allele gets suppressed. And the last progeny was the homozygous, double homozygous recessive progeny, which was like a recessive parent. That is, with the absence of both the dominant alleles, they produce their own character, that is wrinkled green. So that is how we get genotypic ratio 1:2:2:1:2:4:2:1:2:1. So that is how we get the 1:2:1:2:4:2:1:2:1 ratio, that is genotypic ratio, while the phenotypic ratio remains 9:3:3:1 with 4 different progeny characters. So this shows that the ratios were discussed, and this particular dihybrid experiment helped Mendel to propose a law called law of independent assortment of non-allelic genes. And what was that law of independent assortment? This particular law states that in dihybrid cross, assortment of one gene occurs independently of another non-allelic gene at the time of gametogenesis. So here this is the F1 generation dihybrid. Here S and S is responsible for the shape of the seed, that is round or wrinkled, and Y and Y is the color of the seed. If it is dominant, it is if it is uppercase letter, that imparts or that gives the dominant color yellow, or if it is recessive, then it is the green color. Okay, so S and S and Y are allelic genes, allelic pair of genes, whereas S to Y is non-allelic pair of genes now. So here this law states that the assortment of one gene occurs independently of other non-allelic genes. So when the gamete formation is happening, when this S goes to a particular gamete, this is not dependent on these non-allelic genes. This can go to any gamete, and it is purely a chance, on chance basis. These two gametes, these are non-allelic to this S, right? So these can go to any gamete. It's not like the dominant allele for one character goes with the dominant allele of the other character. It's just a chance. 50% of chance is that this can go with capital Y and this can go with small y. That is how we have two chances here. And even the same with the recessive allele here. This can go with the dominant as well as with the recessive here. That is how we get 4 different combinations of gamete. And because of this independent assortment of non-allelic genes, new combination of characters were produced in the offsprings. We saw it, right? In the second generation, that is the F2 generation, there were 2 new characters that was being produced apart from the parents. Parents round yellow were there, round yellow progenies are there, wrinkled green parent is there, and wrinkled green progeny is there. And these two are newly arrived character, and this is due to the independent assortment of genes with the non-allelic genes. And coming to the dihybrid test cross. So dihybrid test cross, it is like the F1 dihybrid is crossed back with the homozygous double recessive parent. Okay, this is again to find out the genotype of the offspring. So here this is double heterozygous hybrid, and this is homozygous double recessive parent. And this F1 hybrid, this with a independent assortment of genes, they give 4 different types of gametes, and parent produces one particular gamete here, since it is homozygous. So here when this crosses with the homozygous parent, there is a formation of capital Y, capital R, small r. This is responsible for the yellow round color. Though it is heterozygous, the dominant character is being produced here, that is yellow color and round shape. And then this particular gamete, when it crosses with the homozygous parent here, this gives yellow and wrinkled. Why yellow and wrinkled here? One Y is capital and one particular allele is recessive. So the dominant character is expressed here, that is yellow color, and the shape of the seed is wrinkled here, because both of the allele that is responsible for the shape of the seeds are recessive. So the recessive character is being expressed here, that is wrinkled. Whereas here green round, the same goes here. Green is recessive character that is expressed here, and the round is the dominant character that is being expressed here. And here both, since both of them are recessive, purely recessive, they give the recessive character green wrinkled. So what is happening here is, unlike like monohybrid test cross, there it was like a test cross with homozygotes gave a single type of phenotype. Okay, while with a test cross with heterozygote hybrid gave 1:1 phenotypic ratio, right, indicating that one pair of factors were segregating. While in dihybrid test cross, it is with double heterozygote that gives 1:1:1:1 genotypic as well as phenotypic ratio. Okay, you can see here the genotypic ratio, or it's in the ratio 1:1:1:1, that is 1/4 of the total progenies were of one type, and so on like that. And even in the phenotypic ratio, it is 1/4 of them were different. And this particular cross indicates that two pair of factors are segregating and assorting independent of their non-alleles. Okay, so that's about the dihybrid test cross. Next it is the incomplete dominance. This is a allelic gene interaction. Okay, there is a concept called gene interaction, which is deviation from the Mendel's experiments. So in that there is particularly allelic gene interaction and non-allelic gene interaction. Allelic gene interaction is like the interaction between genes are of within the allelic pairs. Okay, that is the allelic gene interaction, whereas non-allelic is the one like the gene from one particular, the allele in one particular gene pair interacts with the non-allelic pair. So that's about the non-allelic gene interaction, which I'll be discussing in coming classes. So for coming back to the incomplete dominance, it is also called partial dominance or semi-dominance. Okay, so it is an allelic gene interaction where both alleles of a particular character express their own character in F1 generation. So the F1 individual has a mixture of characters of both the parents. Okay, so what's happening here? This is a monohybrid cross. In usually monohybrid cross, what would have happened is the dominant parent will be there and the recessive parent will be there, and the F1 progeny obviously had a heterozygous dominant character. While what is happening in incomplete dominance is there are two parents. Say for example, this usually happens in Mirabilis jalapa, that is 4 o'clock plant, and Antirrhinium, this is a snapdragon plant. So in these plants, the flowers are of two different types. There is a flower which produces there is a plant that produces red colored flowers, and there is a plant that produces white colored flowers. So these were taken as parents, and in F1 generation, the cross between these two different colored flower plant given like that gave different progenies. That is usual monohybrid cross, what would have happened? The dominant character would have expressed. Here red is dominant and white is recessive, right? So red would have appeared. But what happened in these plants is it had a new variety, that is all pink. What happened here is the red color expressed itself in F1 generation, as well as the white also expressed itself in F1 generation. Okay, which means the genes that is responsible for red color is not completely dominant over the recessive genes. So they expressed as well as they allowed the white to express. So the mixture of red and white became pink. So in this particular condition of incomplete dominance, neither of the allele is dominant over the other. Nor the red is dominant over the white, nor white is completely recessive over the red. So that is how the incomplete dominance is being said. So here the pure breeding red parent is crossed, that is homozygous red flowered 4 o'clock plant or snapdragon is being crossed with the homozygous white flowered plant. So the F1 generation, so the gamete is segregating here, and the F1 generation all had pink flowers in heterozygous condition. Okay, so here the dominant allele R is expressing itself giving the red color, and the recessive allele R, that is also giving the white color. So the red and white mixes to give pink colored flowers. And when these F1 hybrids were crossed or self-fertilized, there is gamete formation happening. R goes to one gamete, the small r goes to other gamete. So these when randomly crossed, what we are getting is this F2 generation had three different phenotypes. Okay, one was like the homozygous pair, homozygous genes gave red colored flowers, and the heterozygous gave pink colored flowers, and the homozygous recessive gave white colored flowers. So the phenotypic ratio remains to be 1:2:1, that denoting one out of four progenies were red, and two out of four progenies were pink, and one out of them were white color. And the genotypic ratio also remains to be 1:2:1, denoting homozygous dominant are heterozygous alleles, and then homozygous recessive alleles. So here usually monohybrid cross would have shown 3:1 or 1:3 phenotypic ratio. But here in incomplete dominance, since neither of the alleles are completely dominant over each other, phenotypic ratio and the genotypic ratio remains the same, that is 1:2:1. So that was about dihybrid cross and incomplete dominance, and I'll be back with part 4, in which I'll get you gene interactions, which is a modification to the Mendelian ratios. Thank you.